My striped shoes are for playing for fancy, I guess, because they're meant to take the pressure off.
Well, today we're going to start again by lying on our backs. So you guys can stretch out on your mats and take some deep breaths in and let your feet fall open and just relax all of the muscles in your legs. And I would love to invite you to think about your breath as you inhale, like it's going all the way down to the bottom of your belly and then inflating up through your lungs. Trying to just center your thoughts in this moment. So oftentimes our brains just go, 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 go. So if you can try to just let those thoughts float on by or try to pull yourself back to the present moment. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't work today, that's okay. Just be gracious with yourself. So as we settle in here, today, as I was thinking about our meditation, I was thinking about a funny movie. I don't know if you guys have seen Jumanji Next Level, but it's a movie about these characters that get sucked into a board game, and then they have to do these different challenges in order to be able to get out of the board game again. And in this is the second movie in that series. And in the second movie, there's the first one, there's 4 like high school students that get sucked into the game and then defeated eventually. And then the second one, there's 2 like grandpa age characters that also get sucked in, and they just cannot figure it out that they're in a game for a long time. They just cannot put it together. And one of the very funny scenes is there's 2 high school students, and well, I guess they're in college now, and then 2 grandpas in the game. And the one high school student keeps trying to say, "We're in a video game. This is what's happening," and so they're kind of setting up the scene in the game, and they're in part of the game where they're explaining what the game is and what to do and all of that. And the one grandpa is like, what's going on? You know, he ends up with a letter in his hand that he's supposed to read. You know, it just appears because it's a video game. And the other characters are going, you have to read the letter. And he's like, what letter? I never got a letter. And then the other grandpa character goes, oh, Eddie, it's in your hand. You have to remember what's in your hand. And I got to thinking about that phrase, you have to remember what's in your hand. And I thought, how many times do we do that, where we approach a situation and we forget that we have been equipped, that we have done the learning, that we are fully prepared for the moment that's in front of us. And we forget what's in our hand, that we have been given everything that we need inside of us to handle the moment that's in front of us. And so as we move throughout our practice today, the encouragement is for us to just remember that we have everything we need inside of us to be present, fully present to that moment, or to handle whatever next step is coming. And so, just an encouragement for us today. We got to remember what's in our hand. So, as we lay down here, we're going to go ahead and start by doing just a full body stretch. So arms up overhead, toes pointing to one wall, fingertips pointing to the other wall. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and start to sweep those arms down alongside your body on your next exhale. We're We're gonna go ahead and bring our feet to the mat. And we're gonna heel toe our feet out about as wide as the mat. And then we're gonna leave our knees bent and then just drop our knees off to one side. So you're gonna feel a really nice stretch along one side of your body. You'll feel kind of a contracting space in the other side of your body. Just breathing slowly and deeply. When you're ready, you can start to draw those knees back up toward the ceiling, readjusting if you need to. And then again, leaving those knees bent, we're just kind of laying those down to the opposite side. Again, getting a really nice stretch along the opposite side body this time. And even feel that in through your hip flexor. Taking some deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can start to bring those knees back up toward the ceiling. Again, readjusting if you need to make sure that your spine is just in a neutral position on that mat. And here we're going to take that right leg up straight toward the ceiling. If you'd like to pull it in toward your chest, you're welcome to. And then slowly moving that out to the side. Again, coming down as far as feels comfortable to you, using that the outside hand there as support if you need to. And then here, if you'd like to, go ahead and just make some ankle rotations. Draw some circles with your toes. And then go the opposite direction. Engage in your core to help with this stretch. And then coming back to center. Bringing that leg in towards your chest again. And then releasing that foot down to the mat. And go ahead and take the other foot up toward the ceiling. Again, drawing that leg gently in towards your body. Now when you're ready, again, starting to take that to the outside. Getting a nice inner thigh stretch here. And then start to rotate that ankle again. Again, engaging your core and support, and then going the opposite direction with your circles. And then starting to bring that back to center. Go ahead and pull that toward your chest again. And then releasing that foot back down to the mat. This time we're taking the right foot straight up. We're pointing our toes. And we're going to scoot the left foot away from our body a little bit. And then we're going to take this right foot out at an angle. So again, here you're engaging your core to make sure that all of that is stable. And we're going to simply take our toe, bend our knee, point and go underneath our left leg, and then come back out. What we're doing is we're warming up that inner thigh. So we're inhaling as we point out, exhaling as we come in. Maybe doing between 5 to 10 of those repetitions. Inhaling on one, exhaling on the other. And then bringing that pointed toe back to center, releasing that foot down. This time taking the other side, so we're taking the left foot straight up, pointing the toe, making sure that that right foot is out away from our body slightly, and then angling that left leg out, and then bringing that, again, underneath the right leg, and then back out. Inhaling on one move, and then exhaling on the other. Again, you're warming up that inner thigh. Again, doing between 5 to 10 of these. So going at your own pace. Remembering to continue to breathe. And then when you're done, go ahead and draw that leg back toward the center. Release that foot down. We're going to take both of the bottoms of our feet together and allow our knees to fall open for a reclined back angle. If you'd like, you can take your palms to the outside of your thighs for a little bit of support. Again, breathing deeply. Feeling a nice stretch on the inner thigh here. Now when you're ready, go ahead and take those knees together. Bring the feet, the soles of the feet back to the mat. We're going to go ahead and work our hands underneath our hip bones here. Just supporting that low back space. And then from here, we're going to take one leg at a time up towards the ceiling. Drawing our heels together. If you'd like, you can point your toes if that's more comfortable for you. And then from here, we're going to simply take our legs out to the sides and then back up toward the center. We're going to do about 5 of those, out to the sides and back to the center. Again, continuing to breathe as we do so. You're engaging those inner thighs to draw those heels back together. Once you've done your 5 or 6, hey, come on in. Then you're going to meet those heels back toward the center. This time, if you can, you're going to drop those legs down a little bit. You'll feel your core start to engage. If your low back starts to arch, or if you start to come up off of the mat, then just bring your legs up a little bit higher. But you're going to see how far you can go before your back starts to arch. So this is a great core strengthening exercise. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring those feet all the way up. You're going to release those feet back down to the mat. Take those hands out from underneath your hips. Straighten out the legs once more. Extend your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. And then again, when you're ready, releasing those arms, exhaling them down to your sides here. We're going to go ahead and bring our feet back to the mat. And then go ahead and start to shift our hips so that we can put those hands back underneath your hips. Then here, we're going to straighten those legs out again. We're going to move into fish pose. So from here, you're going to press your elbows into the mat as you lift your chest up toward the ceiling. Just making sure that your neck is a natural extension of your body here. So you're not like tipping it down or bending it in some kind of awkward way. You're just letting it kind of extend out from your body in a natural position. You're breathing deeply, you're opening up your chest, your arms are engaged. And then when you're ready, coming down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time, releasing the head. Go ahead and bring your feet to the mat. Take those hands out from underneath your hips. Draw your knees into your chest. And then rock back and forth across that low back. And coming back to center, we're going to put our hands behind our knees and then rock ourselves up into a seated position. Taking a moment here, we're going to make sure that our heels are on the mat. We're going to sit nice and tall, making sure our shoulders are down away from our ears. Extend our arms out in front of us, and then leaving your spine straight. See if you can angle back for boat pose. And then, of course, there are always further variations of this. So you can take one foot up at a time if you would like for a little added challenge. You can always bring both feet up at the same time. You can extend your levers so you can make both feet straight out, or you can even take your arms up overhead if you would like. And engaging that core and still breathing. And when you're ready, sitting up out of that pose, relaxing those legs down. We're going to come to the center of our mats and extend both legs out to either side. Starting with seated open A, we're going to place our hands on the mat and simply lean forward. So however you can do that, make sure that you're not coming so far that it hurts. You want it to stretch, but you don't want it to hurt. So again, relaxing into this position if you can. Then from here, we're going to walk our hands over to that left leg, taking one hand on either side of that leg. Continuing to breathe. Continuing to bring our mind's eye back to our meditation. That we have everything we need inside of us to face the moment that we're in. When you're ready, you can start to walk those hands back to center, pausing here for several breaths. When you're ready, you can start to walk those hands to the right leg. Again, putting one hand on either side. And you may notice that one side of your body is tighter than the other or more flexible than the other. Those are just good things to notice. We don't use our bodies evenly all the time throughout the day, so just notice those things, don't judge them. It just is what it is. And when you're ready, coming back to center once more. This time we're going to walk those hands back towards our bodies. We're going to bend that left knee, and then we're going to turn to face that knee, and the top of this right thigh is going to turn down to the mat. So that way we're going to flip over into pigeon pose on this left side. And again, if you would like, you can go ahead and fold forward over top of that knee. Staying here again for several deep breaths. And when you're ready, we can start to walk those hands underneath our shoulders. We can turn toward that long edge of the mat again, bringing both legs out into wide open A. And then we're going to bend the right leg, then flipping over, turning to the right, coming into that pigeon pose on the other side. Again, bending forward over top of that knee if you would like. Pausing for several breaths. Maybe asking yourself, are there areas of my life where I feel like I don't have what I need for that moment, or I don't have what it takes in a certain moment. And is there maybe something that I need to check in with? Asking where we feel those limitations. Reminding ourselves of our capabilities and strengths and skills in those moments. Taking another deep breath here and walking those hands underneath those shoulders. We'll turn and face the long edge of the mat once more. This time bending that left knee in. We're going to come back into that pigeon pose on the left-hand side here. And then again, folding forward. We're going to be adding on to this. So take a few deep breaths here, just enjoying this pose. You might notice it feels a little bit more comfortable than it did last time. Just because your body is starting to get stretched out. And walking those hands underneath your shoulders, tucking the back toes. We're going to straighten that back leg and then take the left foot back to meet the right foot for a plank pose here. And then from here, we're going to step that left foot forward between our two front hands. So however you need to do that, if that means that you can just go ahead and step forward, then great. And if that means that you need to stand up and then step forward and come back down, then that's great too. So we're in a runner's lunge here. Taking a nice deep breath, straightening that back leg, feeling the strength in your legs. Stepping the back foot in just slightly. We're going to set that heel down, and we're going to lift the front toes. So it's almost like a little rocking sort of a motion that we're going to end up doing here. And again, if you need to keep a bend in your knees, feel free to do that. Then lifting your back heel and setting the front toes down, come forward. Then once more, shifting your weight so that way the back heel comes down and the front toes come up off the mat. Using your hands for support. Again, keeping a bend in your knees if you need to. One more time, lifting the back heel, setting the front toes down. And bending that front knee, we're going to step back with that back foot. Moving back into our runner's lunge here. We're going to take both hands to the inside of that front foot. And then we're going to heel toe that front foot out to the edge of the mat. And if you can then go ahead and see if you can come down onto your elbows. And if you can't, you can just come down to one elbow or not at all. Leave yourself up on your hands. If you also need to, you can always put down that back heel too. So either way, it's totally fine. Taking another deep breath here. And then working yourself back up onto your palms if you're not already there. Heel toeing that foot back to the center as you frame that front foot. You're going to go ahead and step that back leg in once more. This time bringing both sets of toes and heels to the mat. And then walking your hands around to the long edge of your mat, you're going to turn your toes to face the long edge of the mat and come into standing wide open A, just allowing that upper body to hang down. And from here, we're gonna turn those toes out slightly, so about a 45-degree angle. And we're gonna sink our hips down in the middle. So again, if you need to kind of work yourself into this pose, that's totally fine. You need to bring your legs in further, that's totally fine. We're gonna work ourselves into a yogi squat. And if you need to keep your hands down for support, feel free to do that. But if you want a little extra challenge here, you would come to the center and see if you can bring your hands to heart center. And placing your hands back down on the mat. If they're not already there, lift your hips, coming back into that standing open A pose. We're gonna go ahead and heel toe our feet together. Then setting our hips down, allowing the heels to come up off the mat. We're gonna go ahead and sit down once more on our mat. And then take our legs open into that seated wide open A. Go ahead and place your hands on the mat in front of you. And then just come straight forward once more. Taking a few deep breaths here. And walking those hands back towards your body. We're gonna bend the right leg, turning to the right side. And then go ahead and fold forward over top of that knee. We're pigeon toes on the right side here. Taking a few deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you can start to walk your hands underneath your shoulders here. We're going to tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg, and then step that right foot back to meet the left, coming into plank pose. From here, you're going to step that right foot forward between your two front hands. Again, however you need to get there is just fine. So coming into runner's lunge here. Again, straightening that back leg as much as is possible. And from here, we're going to step that back foot in, probably about a foot or so that we come in. We're going to set the back heel down, but we're going to lift the front toes. So your weight just slightly shifts toward the back of your mat. And again, if you need to keep a bend in your knees, please do that. Be kind to yourselves as we go through this practice. When you're ready, you're going to set the front toes down, and you're going to come up, allow the back heel to come up. So you're coming onto your toes on the back foot. Again, noticing that your weight is shifting slightly forward in this pose. Then again, shifting that weight back, allowing the right toes to come up. Breathing deeply here. And then one more time, go ahead and allow those right toes to come down. Allow the left heel to come up off the mat. Shifting your weight forward just slightly. And then stepping that back foot back again into our runner's lunge. We're going to take both hands to the inside of that front foot, and then heel toe our foot out to the edge of the mat. And you can either stay here, or if you would like, you can come down onto your elbows. If you would also like, you can also put that back knee down and untuck your toes if that's more comfortable for you. Again, reminding ourselves that we have everything we need inside of us. whatever the present moment is. And then when you're ready, starting to work yourself back up onto your palms if you're not already there. And then start to heel toe that foot back to center, framing that front foot with your hands. Stepping that back leg in again. Straightening both legs as much as is possible as you bend forward over top of that front leg. Both heels, both sets of toes are down on the mat this time. Breathing deeply. Then taking your hands, walking them around to the long edge of the mat. You're going to turn your toes to face the long edge of the mat, sinking down into this wide-legged stretch. This time I'm going to encourage you, you guys know how we do downward facing dog. Our hands are kind of out in front of us, our palms are pressed into the mat, and our biceps are by our ears. So walk your hands out in front of you. See if you can come into a downward facing dog upper body, but leave your legs in wide open way. Breathing deeply here. Then walking those hands back to center. We're going to turn those toes out at about a 45-degree angle, and then allow those hips to sink down toward the mat. Again, if you need to bring your stance in just slightly, feel free to do that. If you need to kind of work yourself into this pose, you're welcome to do that too. Coming to center, if you can, bringing your hands to heart center. Using those elbows to press the knees open. And then go ahead and place your hands on the mat, lifting your hips once more, turning those toes so that way you come into wide open A again. This time, heel toeing your feet to about hip width apart. We're going to bend our knees deeply here. We're going to take one elbow in each hand and come into ragdoll pose. Just allowing your upper body to hang down. If you want to rock from side to side here in ragdoll pose, you're welcome to do that. And when you're ready, coming back to center, placing those hands on the mat, allowing those hips to come down and the heels to come up. And we're going to sit down once more onto the mat. This time taking the soles of our feet together, we're going to come into butterfly pose. So here you can either bounce your knees if you would like, or you can fold forward using your elbows to press the knees toward the mat. Taking a couple more deep breaths. Maybe as we continue to move our bodies, even thinking about what are the things that we know that we already have in our hands. We said we have to remember what's in your hand. And so reminding ourselves that we have everything we need inside of us to face whatever it is in front of us. So asking yourself, what are my tools or coping skills or the gifts that I bring to the world around me? When you're ready, you can start to round yourself up very slowly from that pose. We're going to take our knees together. We're going to bring them off to one side. And we're going to come up onto our knees. We did this move on Tuesday, but we're gonna do it again, where we take one leg out to the side. We're going to take our hands down to the mat. And then we're gonna sit those hips back onto that heel, stretching forward, leaving that right leg out to the side. When you're ready, you can start to pull yourself back up, bringing that right leg in again. And then if you need to kind of adjust on your mat, you can. I'm going to take the left leg out to the side, standing nice and tall, and then think about bending down. So we put our hands on the mat, sitting back onto our heel, again, leaving that left leg long, stretching those arms out in front of us. When you're ready, you can start to pull yourself back up out of that pose. Bringing that leg back in once more, tucking our toes. We're gonna rock ourselves onto the balls of our feet and stand up. We're gonna move into our balancing postures. So if you need to move toward a wall or toward a chair for a little extra balance, feel free to do that. If you have a strap and you would like to use it, you're welcome to do that. We're gonna do an extended leg position for one of our balancing positions today. So we're gonna take our feet about hip width apart, standing nice and tall in mountain pose, thinking about softening our tailbones down, engaging these low abdominal muscles, opening up the chest, making sure the shoulders are down away from the ears, taking those shoulder blades down and together, kind of along the spine, making sure our ears are over top of our shoulders. And then we're going to start to shift our weight to that left foot, drawing the right knee forward. Taking our right index finger and thumb, we're going to loop that around the big toe. Again, if you would like to stay here, you're welcome to, or you can start to see if you can extend that leg straight out in front. And then if you would like a little further, you can see if you can come out to the side. Then coming back to front, go ahead and bend that knee. Release that, stepping out, kind of wiggling and stretching out whatever needs to be stretched out or shaken out. And again, standing in our mountain pose, remembering all of our good posture, taking in those deep cleansing breaths. Then shifting our weight to our right foot. We're going to bring that left knee forward. This time taking index and thumb on the other hand. Again, stay here if you would like, or you can see if you can extend that leg out. And then if you would like, you can see if you can extend it out to the side as well. And then drawing that back to the front. Go ahead and bend the knee, release that all down. And again, shake it out. Whew. Very good. We're going to come back down to our mats. I encourage you to have your legs straight out in front of you. Sitting nice and tall, we're going to press our hands into the mat for staff pose. Holding this for a couple of deep breaths. When you're ready, we're going to take the right ankle over top of the left ankle. We're going to bend that right knee, drawing that ankle above the left knee. Then we're going to bend the left knee, bringing the low body into a seated pigeon pose. So you can take your hands kind of behind you at an angle for a little bit of support, but you can bring this as far in as feels comfortable to you. You can leave your foot flat on the mat in front of you, or you can just put your heel down, either way. And then if you would like, you can start to rock back and forth with your legs, going from side to side. You'll feel that in your hips. Taking a couple of deep breaths. And then coming back to center, we're going to release all of that back down. Taking our hands next to our hips, pressing them in toward the mat, extending those legs straight out, sitting nice and tall, lengthening your spine. Taking a deep breath or two. And then go ahead and cross that left ankle over top of the right. Then bend that left knee. And then we're going to bend the right knee. Again, coming into a seated pigeon pose. So again, bringing that in as far as feels comfortable to you, using your hands behind you as supports. Thinking about drawing your chest in toward your legs. And then when you're ready, go ahead and start to rock those legs back and forth. Maybe one more deep breath here. And then bring those legs back to center. Go ahead and extend that right leg down, release the left leg, returning back into our staff pose where we're sitting nice and tall. And from here, we're going to take that right leg and we're going to bend our foot back towards our bodies. We're going to get a nice little stretch on the front side of the right thigh. So you're going to take your left hand behind you and then reach forward toward that right knee. You can also come down onto your elbow if you'd like a little bit of a deeper stretch here. One more deep breath. And then go ahead and come back up, unfold that leg. We'll take the other side, taking the left foot back towards our bodies, taking that right arm at an angle out behind us, reaching forward toward that left knee with our left hand. Or you can also come down onto your elbow. And taking some nice deep breaths here. And when you're ready, you can start to work yourself back up onto that hand, unfold the leg, bring it forward. We're going to take our legs out again into our seated open A position. Sitting nice and tall in the center and then placing the hands on the mat in front of us. Starting to lean forward again. Reminding ourselves we have everything we need inside of us. Reminding ourselves of all the good learning that we've done over the years to bring us to this point. In our Thrive Network at work, we talk about how people are creative, resourceful, and whole. this practice today is just a reminder of those things. When you're ready, you can start to walk your hands back to center. You're going to draw both legs together and then come down into a laying down position on the mat. Rocking yourself down if you would like. You can either take your heels out as wide or wider than the mat and allow your knees to fall in toward the center to rest. Or you can take them all the way down to the mat if that's more comfortable for you. Allow your feet to fall open as you rest here. So whichever variation suits you today, then you can bring your arms down alongside your body. You can either do palms up or palms facing down. Again, whichever one suits you today. We'll just take a few moments of quiet and then I'll call us back together. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Start to work yourself into a seated position. And for today, I would encourage you to have your palms open on your knees if that's comfortable to you. But as always, feel free to choose what is best for you. And let me pray for us. God, thank you that you did not leave us empty-handed. God, that you have gifted each one of us with different tools, skills, abilities, even gifts for the people around us and for the world in which we live. Lord, thanks for giving each of us particular passions and certain steps to take forward. So God, we just ask that you would remind us what you've placed in our hands, that we would remember that we have everything that we need inside of us to face this present moment, and that you have equipped us well to be able to do that. I love you, and it's in your grace we go. Amen. Well,